Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 14 of the House of Hammers podcast. We created this podcast to shed some light on some of the people that Chris Okoye and myself felt were hammers in the community, not only at Catholic Central, but outside of this place. Everyone from coaches to mentors to businessmen to servant leaders, things like that. And we are very excited about our guest today. But before I introduce him, I got to check in with Chris. We actually did our first episode without him when Mike McAndrews came in. Chris had some stuff going on, and he's freshly out of a boot from his turf toe injury. You knew I was going to mention it.
Wow.
I want you to touch on this a little bit later. We'll talk about what it's like getting older as our bodies start to fall apart. But, Chris, keep us up to date on some of the stuff you've had going on lately.
Oh, man, mega blessed, man. Mega blessed, mega fortunate. A lot of great things going on in Shamrock Nation. So one of our Shamrock brothers, Anthony told me, Michael told me, they just opened up another Jimmy John's locations down in Corktown and Old Tiger Stadium. So a lot of great things going on. Shout out to hockey. They just won states as well. Did we touch on that already last episode? Or
we touch on it all the time. We can mention. Okay. You want to mention the Braves freshman football championship in the fall? We can talk about that too.
The Braves freshman football. You know, we're jumpstarting.
Talent overcomes coaching again. Right?
Exactly. Jumpstarting lacrosse season. So a lot of good things going on. Our young men are doing some amazing things. A lot of positive work. Young men are finally getting their Christian service hours in, so, you know, they're all done and settled in there. So, man, life is good, man. God is still God, even in the midst of adversity. Out of the boot, turf toe flared up a little bit on me, was getting a little too aggressive with the single leg lunges and trying to do some get-offs, and haven't done 50 snaps in a little bit of time, and so you got in a little bit of a get-off competition, trying to show the guys how to do get-offs, and next thing you know, I was on, like, rep 40, and before I knew it, I did like 10 club rips, and I was in Crocs, and I was relaxing. Next thing you know, man, I'm like, dude, like the last time I remember, like whenever I would get turf toe, I remember the first time I got it against the 49ers. I remember thinking my cleat had broke. Like, I'm like, dude, I think the bottom of my shoe fell off. And I looked down, my shoe was completely intact.
You're like,
and so, yeah, luckily, man, like when I was there, it was fine. I just, you know how it is. It's like once you share it with me, once I was like relaxing, it was like everything had kind of toned down. And I'm just like, what's going on there, man? And yeah, she was swollen up like a balloon.
For those of you out there who have never had turf toe and think it's a soft injury, like before I had it, I was like, man, they're missing an NFL game with turf toe? How soft is that? And then I got it, and it was like, this is one of the most painful injuries and stupid injuries I've ever gotten in my life. But I'm happy you're on the mend. You did not look right wearing that walking boot. You know,
I was trying to hide.
I love tearing into you in your fashion. Yeah. Usually that one just didn't help. But
hid from you, man.
Yeah. It's on our end at the Babbitt's house. Things couldn't be any better. Brooks and Bo just flourishing in school, being good boys to each other. My wife is still a saint. Getting ready to go on spring break after we finish up the week, so very excited.
Where you guys going?
We're going to Folly Beach, South Carolina.
Folly Beach.
I'm not moving from the pool or the beach. You will see me in either one of those spots.
Folly Beach.
All you can eat crab legs, mandatory. Yes, 100%. I will be crushing all you can eat crab legs.
Is that like a part of the resort or something like that?
No,
or?
It's not. It's just
like
I've already looked up places, different spots I'm going to go to. I did want to share something with everybody that I heard yesterday, and it's something that I'll touch on later. Because as we grow older, I think we need to prioritize rest more. I heard something from Tim Tebow the other day, and he was talking about how rest is biblical. It's in the Bible. It's not just, taking advantage of the Sabbath and resting, but when he talked about resting, he talked about spending time with God, talking to him, working on your relationship. I love that. And then he also said that run is also biblical. God put us on this earth to run this race, to make sure that we're instruments to spread his word, things like that, our faith through our own lives and things like that. That's why I'm so excited for this week's guest. To have Jeff Wiska on as our episode 14 guest for me is a full circle moment. He has been a phenomenal mentor for me, a phenomenal friend. Part of the reason why I love people the way I do comes from my family, but the majority of it comes from the way that Jeff helped raise me as a young professional here, as a young coach, as a mentor, hopefully still to his two sons, both are which are wildly more successful than probably both of us by now. But he's a 1977 grad, played football here at Catholic Central. He took his football career and his academic career to Michigan State University, where he ended up being on the all-decade team a few years ago. He gets drafted in the 7th round out of Michigan State University, spends the first year on IR, right?
Yeah, hurt my knee.
Comes back the next year, makes a move to another team, so spent time with the Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions, some time in the Arena Football League, won the Arena Football Championship with the Detroit Drive. I don't know if you've ever heard of them before, have you?
Only drive I know is CC Drive, brother.
I'm just kidding. I told you he would, Sean. I told you he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know who the Detroit Drive was.
It's trivia stuff. Yeah.
Detroit Drive was a arena football team in Detroit, same colors as Little Caesars, owned by the Illich family.
Really?
Arena Football League, world champion over there. But
how was the experience?
It was fun. I mean, every level is fun. I mean, the funnest level, the higher up you go, the less fun it gets. The best days of my life, if I could replay one game in my life, it wouldn't be a USFL championship game. It wouldn't be the Cleveland Brown Denver Bronco championship game where Elway had the 97-yard drive and I had the privilege of being on the other side. It wouldn't be Michigan State. It would be Al Fracassa versus Brother Rice at Wisner Stadium. The best, most fun game, most gratifying too, because
just the environment driving up there when you're
love
coming
beating
down
Brother
Dixie
Rice
Highway
and love beating Brother Rice more than any other opponent. And the reason that I say that is because I have more respect for Al Fracassa and the people for Brother Rice from any other opponent I've ever lined up against.
It was great, the friendship that those two got to build, and I think that set a standard because I know you have friends from Brother Rice. I have friends from Brother Rice.
Yeah.
But back to my introduction, spent time with the Michigan Panthers, who you said was one of your favorite uniforms as well.
Yeah.
Chris, fellow USFL.
I didn't know you were USFL.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Yeah. I started like 27, 28 games in the USFL, yeah.
Okay.
But outside of that, goes into the world of business. Dale Carnegie trained. I know you and I have talked a lot about that and always reviewing that, how to love your people and take care of them, let them know that you're there for them. You go to Boise Cascade when we really started to get together and communicate more and develop our friendship and brotherhood. And just your management style there is why I'm so excited to have you on today, because you've lived your life similarly in everything you've gone into with love and with a high level of faith, self-belief, and confidence. And I want to make sure we dive into that today. But without further ado, 1977 grad, Catholic Central Hall of Famer, legend, Michigan State all-decade team, Mr. Jeff Wiska. We'll clap it up for him.
Oh, well,
Sean will put in some sound effects, things like that.
No, that's very kind. But let me just interject real quick how proud I am of you two guys. I mean, watching you grow up, watching you play, beating Saginaw Arthur Hill. I want to say it was like a 14-13 game back in 1992. You graduated 93, so it was the champ.
Yeah.
I remember sometime, I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. I remember sitting next to my father in the euphoria of that back and forth game and watching you, and then watching the husband that you are, watching the father that you are, and I just knew with your skill set, you have the proper skills and you have the passion, and Catholic Central is so fortunate to have a man of your talent, and just great to watch you, and you've impacted so many lives and you're doing a great job. And then Chris, watching him, he's always, your personality type, you're either, when you walk into a room, you're putting a smile on somebody's face, or when you're walking out of it, you're putting a smile on somebody's face. His positive energy and his effortless trying to do everything he can to motivate, inspire, and to bring out the best in young man. It's a privilege to be here with you two guys. Love. We're brothers. I'm a much older brother, but the brotherhood is alive and well.
I think we're the older guys in the room. Now that I'm 50, I can say stuff like that. I can use that little caveat and that little joke. But I've said this to Chris a million times, and I've said it to Sean. I remember when Sean was a student here too, coming from Heartland, wrestling, all the people in Heartland just giving him, because he was a Shamrock.
Yeah.
Same thing with Chris. To watch the growth from these two guys and guys like a Ben Herman, Stephen Yunchai, Brian Bedard. I mean, there's so many of our little brothers here that are just flourishing, and that's what makes it so special. I steal a lot of what I do just as a father, husband, coach, and as a professional from you. So give us Jeff Wiska in 2 minutes. What makes you tick? Give us your why in 2 minutes. Now it can go a little bit longer, but and you know I'm not going to prepare you with any of these.
I can ramble. For myself, Catholic Central was Disneyland, and I constantly humbled by athletes, by people that are so much smarter than I, people that are so much giving, people that their spirituality is so, I put them on a pedestal, and I find myself at 67 years old walking into this building and getting the same feeling that I had when I was a 13-year-old. I'm in awe of so many people around me, and I'm constantly looking up, and they've constantly helped make me a better man because I'm as average. I made the honor roll twice. I was joking earlier, I guess I got overlooked for the Dillon Award. It must have been an oversight, but you know, I'm grateful. I never people talk about Catholic Central recruits. They get all the great athletes. The first game that I ever started was the 6th game my junior year, and that was only because Joe Myrana broke his leg and I took his spot. And by drinking the CC Kool-Aid and buying into Coach Mack and everything that Catholic Central stands for, I had 30 Division I scholarship offers by the end of my senior year. And then everybody said, oh, you only went to CC because you're a good football player, and they recruited you. Not so. But what I learned is kind of this simple. Life is football. You bring together a group of people. You don't care what their skin color is, what their politics is, and you don't put Tom Brady at tight end. You put Tom Brady at quarterback, and you don't put Gronkowski at tailback. You put him at tight end. You assemble your team. You overcome adversity. There's going to be fumbles. There's going to be penalties. It's going to be too hot. It's going to be too cold. Somebody's going to fall into your knee. You game plan. The play never looks the way that you drew it up on the board. And at the end of the day, you find a way with 30 seconds left in the game and you're on the 2-yard line to huddle up with your folks after all the imperfections that the day has and the game has given, and you find a way to get the ball in the end zone with your team. Life's kind of that simple. And what I learned in the business world, and it blows me away to this day, organizations, they'll take people and they'll take them to the finest leadership business colleges in the land, and they'll never understand what we understood when we were here at Catholic Central. And it's, don't be a boss, be a mentor, be a coach, be a leader. Managing is making sure it gets done the right way, more process-oriented. Leadership is inspiring human beings and reaching into their heart and getting into their brain and convincing them that with hard work and focus and proper values and proper character, you can achieve anything that you want in your lifetime. Okay isn't okay at Catholic Central.
No.
You have to be the best version of yourself.
A standard is a standard.
You talked about process too. I heard a great one the other day, and it was process versus people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be a process person, but if you're not a people person, then your processes are going to fail, because every process is felt emotionally by a person, a human being. Every standard, same thing there. So, and it was really making me think. It was like, why did I see this? Was yesterday.
Yeah.
Talked about it at the wrestling banquet. And I knew you were coming in today, and I'm like, this is the 3 of us, the 4 of us to a T. You can have a great process in place, but unless your people know you truly care about them, not just say you care about them, but show them, get to know them, check in on them when they need it. That's when you have something truly special. I don't think that that's necessarily, I think it's a different process. It's a process of leading with love instead of just saying, hey, this is how we're going to do it. This is the way you have to do it. No, I'm going to sit down with you like you're a family member of mine. If I sit down and if I'm willing to sit down and ask Chris for advice, I can sure as hell sit down with Chris and have him give me some positive or negative feedback and critique me.
I think the greatest endangered species in the world right now is that of the leader. And what has happened is a lot of managerial folks have been thrust in positions of leadership. And you're either, are you a boss or are you a coach and a mentor? It's kind of that simple. Do you care about your people? Do you wake up in the morning trying to figure out what buttons can I push? What can I do today to bring out the best in everybody that on the hierarchy chart works for me? But the reality is you go to work every day working for everybody else. Everybody's got issues. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got a health issue, a relationship issue, sickness, empathy. Take care of each other, love each other. And some of the stuff there you can't, you don't have control over, but one thing that I had control over when I was in the business world, I can give you a fun environment that we're going to be a team, we're going to be unselfish, we're going to be there to pick each other up, and we're going to create an environment that's very similar to senior year in high school, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to be family.
So you guys had Fridays off and things like that? The occasional.
Every day was Saturday to me. I never worked a day in my life in the rearview mirror. I loved my job. I loved the folk. I loved getting up in the morning and making the rounds and just being able, asking questions. How you doing today? Great. How you doing today? Great. How you doing today? Okay. What's wrong? I can tell. Boom. You get to that level where and then I can talk with my managers and say, these three people aren't themselves, their heads aren't screwed on straight, pat them on the back, no reprimands today or anything like that, and let's uplift them to help them. And then circle around later on the day, just making sure that they're all right, making sure that they know that they're appreciated and loved. And I've learned that the older I get, there are thousands of opportunities during the course of the day to sincerely show appreciation for someone, and we're so busy, so focused on our things, we don't do it. But there are, every hour there are 50 people that we can just, somebody in the band, man, I wish I had your talent, you really do a great job. My dad really liked the halftime something as simple as that sincerely can elevate someone and make their whole day by 15 seconds of kindness. And it's around us all day long, and so often we're so preoccupied with other things we miss that.
Absolutely. I don't think it's something that you're born with. I think maybe a little bit of it, like the three of us, we just kind of have that spirit about us to where you can walk in and just smile at somebody or just crack a joke or say what's up to someone, and you can feel what they might be going through. Or you can tell from their response that they're struggling a little bit. Chris, with you, one thing I've noticed you've been really good at here at CC is helping peel back the layers on some of our kids who might be putting up a false front, and then all of a sudden they sit down with you and you're like, all right, let's really talk about like what you're going through and things like that. Did you have somebody during your experience here who sat you down and was just like, all right, listen, like, who are you trying to become? What are your goals? Like, where were you able to foster that and kind of grow to where you could bring that back to Catholic Central as a professional?
Well, first, the Word of God says, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. And, the Bible also speaks about when you see a man hungry, give him some food, right? You see a man naked, you give him some clothes. You see a man without shelter, you give him some shelter. The Bible speaks about you take care of a man's natural first before his spiritual. And I say that because one of the things I learned from you is that we pour before we critique. So we cultivate that relationship. We spend time with the individual. We get to know their likes, their backdrop, where they're from, what sport they play, like what does their faith life look like? Hey, have you ate today, man? Just cultivating that relationship first before critiquing. I think now we live in a false pseudo consultant environment where a lot of people that have never constructively built anything now want to give all this constructive criticism without construction. And so part of that constructing is construct a relationship first. And that was one thing where, like I always tell people this, me and you never talked about football till it was my career.
Mhm.
Like, you know, there were like encouraging and motivational like moments. You know, I remember before the semifinal versus Cass Tech my senior year, you came and like loved me up. But majority of our relationship was getting loved up, showing that you care. You know, one of the things Coach Asante, not Coach, yeah, Coach Asante would speak about is that people necessarily won't remember like what you did, what you said, how you looked, but they'll remember like how you made them feel. And so,
Maya Angelou quote, one of my favorite quotes.
I don't know why. it's like my like third time
Yes.
saying.
I know. I love calling you out.
Yeah,
I'm calling Faye too.
Yeah, I gotta stop saying that. But yeah, man, it's just, man, you got to earn the right. I'm old school, man. I think, you know, we live in a day where things have to just be earned. I think you have to earn the right to critique someone, you know. So love them up first, and you know that was something that I really, really learned from you in particular, learned from Mr. Trainee in particular, and you know that's why I think it's so easy for me to, whether I agree with it or disagree with it, like it's easy for me to take in like feedback. I know there's been a couple incidents where someone's like, you know, you've shared with me where someone's like, oh, how do you think he's gonna take that? And you're like, oh no, like he takes
Yeah.
like, yeah. And I tell people, I mean, being coachable has always been one of my, you know, biggest assets. Is because, you know, a wise man learns from the mistakes of others, and I genuinely don't think people just I genuinely don't think people are just telling you things just to say it. I think it typically comes from, you know, a place of love, and I think it takes a level of maturity to understand that. And so, yeah, man, I think that's one of the biggest, most profound things I learned from you in particular. You know, obviously, I love my school, but I'm not going to say it's a school wide framework that everyone here uses because I would be lying. However, yeah, I learned that from you, man. You know, you got to cultivate the relationship first before you just dive in, saying what a person's doing wrong. Figure out what's right about them first.
I'd go visit him at Boise Cascade, and just watching you walk around, and I wouldn't even say your employees, because I know you didn't look at them like that. They were actual family members to you that you knew.
I'm accountable to them
Absolutely.
for their career and to get them home safe at the end of the night.
But I never saw it not only get them home safe physically, but get them home in a safe mental state as well, to where they weren't bringing the negativity from work home with them. I think that's what was most inspiring for me. I know you were born with some of that stuff, Wisk, but where did you learn that? When you started at CC, Coach Mack was not our head coach, right?
Correct.
So
Coach Woodcock.
Exactly. You had him, and then Coach Mack came in.
Yeah.
Two very good coaches.
Yeah.
One, when it came to culture and the mentality, completely different than the other.
Correct.
What was that culture shift like for you when Coach Woodcock stepped down and Coach Mack came in?
I had a good relationship with Coach Woodcock.
Good
he
man.
was always good to me, but I'm not a Dillon Award winner. A lot of times I didn't understand what was going on in geometry class or Father Paramo's physics class. But there was something about Coach Mack when he spoke, my brain was a sponge. And it all made sense to me. And I became much more self-accountable, and I had much more self-confidence. And I learned, to our point on the discussion, one of Coach Mack's greatest poems that he gave us was The Man in the Mirror.
Yeah.
Don't worry about your face. Too many people are worried about their Facebook image, and you're accountable to the person in the glass. And what I learned, the good part about playing for Bill Parcells, playing for Darryl Roger, playing for Marty Schottenheimer, playing for Don Shula, and having the honor to play with those gentlemen, is when I got out into the real world, I wanted to coach people up. I didn't want to just rip them down. And things have evolved a little bit today. They're a younger coach, more positive energy. Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, when I was back in the 80s, it was a lot more hard school. And a good rule of thumb to people that you're responsible for in any entity, 5 compliments, find 5 times that they're doing something right. Let them know that they're appreciated. For every 1 constructive criticism. But what happens in the real world? You do everything, and then the one time you make a mistake, that's the only time you get feedback from your boss or from your manager. So, and even when you're coaching someone, you can be hard on a person all day long at practice, But the one thing you can't forget, at the end of the day, you put your arm around him and say, I'm hard on you because I know that there's greatness in you, and I'm going to do anything I can to make you the best version of yourself. Are you with me? Because I'm doing this out of love. I'm not going to look the other way when I think you can do better. And that kid will go from hating you to not being able to sleep that night because he feels upset that he let you down, and he'll come out tomorrow with fire breathing out of his nostrils, not wanting to let you down.
It's weird. I've never said that to anybody before, that I just see this potential in you, and that's why I'm so hard on you. But Chris and I've talked about it on here probably almost every episode.
Yeah.
I see and feel so much potential in him. When he first started working here, I was hard on him. Now, I knew I had built that equity of love and brotherhood with him, but I was hard on him because my vision for him was different than what his was for him at that time.
Yeah.
Seeing him grow into what my vision was more of for him, like the relationships he's built with the kids and the adult and other people, it's exactly what I thought was going to happen. And it's just, like you said, it's seeing people.
Yeah.
It's listening to them. When you and I talk, I'm not thinking of another answer in my head. I'm taking in exactly what you're telling me or what Chris tells me. Like, we do mess with each other quite a bit. We do have some very good conversations.
But that's Catholic Central. We the class of 77, we have 26, 27 guys on a chat.
What a crew.
And we're always, but you know what it is about our brotherhood? When you're down, everybody picks you up, and if you're getting a little too full of yourself, you're going to get your chops busted, and they're going to we keep each other grounded, and we pick each other up when we're down.
Reinforcement groups. I always talk to Sean and AB about that. I don't think there's a single more thing important to the development of an individual than their reinforcement cycles and the people that reinforce the way they behave.
Correct.
Accountability partners are everything, man. And that's why the importance of cultivating the right type of relationships with the right type of people in environments like this, especially in the time in which we're in, are some of the most important things right now. Because the world is falling, and the world is advancing in some ways positive, but in some ways negative. And one of the things we talk about now is, how can an individual, I want to answer for both of you guys, how can you not overly focus on the man, you focus on the man in the mirror while not overly valuing what others think. However, being in a world where you're constantly having to build a brand and people have to validate you to a certain extent, because so much of that nowadays is tied to your ability to make money or close deals or, get contracts. So what advice can you give to the younger generation of how to balance, building brand while still maintaining a sense of, I guess, individuality? Because it's hard to say like, oh, you can't focus on what other people think. Nowadays, we live in an attention-based economy. So there is a direct correlation between how people think about you and view you and your ability to, produce means for your family in these days. So how can young man, how can we balance that from you guys' perspectives?
It's a lot tougher world today than it was when I was 20 years old, a lot less forgiving. I still think it comes back to, number one, it starts with integrity. It starts with self-accountability. It's being someone that you can trust, because we've seen at Michigan State, we see high-profile people that have it all, and lack of character destroys everything. So getting back to the man in the mirror, you can fool people image-wise and branding-wise, but where the rubber meets the road, you have to add value, and you have to know who you are, what are your skill sets. I'm sorry, if you're 4'11" and you want to be center in the NBA, it's not going to happen. Know your skill set and combine that with your passion. And when you add value, you will never get downsized. You don't have to worry about artificial intelligence downsizing me. Where you don't add value, you're vulnerable. You're always going to be vulnerable. So I understand you have to brand yourself, but make sure if you're branding yourself, you're adding value, bringing relationships. If you're selling widgets and you have solid relationships with the top 20 widget customers, guess what? You're not going to get downsized. If you don't have relationships and you're sitting at a keyboard and you're not adding value, you're very vulnerable. I mean, but that's it's only going to continue with the way that it is right now, the way that it's been the last 20 years. I've never seen somebody that's a shaker and a mover get downsized. So don't get too caught up in image stuff and branding stuff. Where the rubber meets the road, make sure you're being productive, and you can look at yourself at the end of the day and say, I like what I see. And there's going to be, you're going to fall and you're going to fail more than you succeed.
And you might lose some sleep too, and not be happy
yeah,
about the way you performed or reacted to something.
It's not always, it's not how high you climb, it's how high you bounce after you've fallen down, and it's the adversity that makes achievement in life great at the end of the day.
I just love that you use the old school term, sales term, widgets. Like, I just remember coming up in sales, and that was the go-to, like, well, say you're selling widgets. And that makes me feel a little bit more mature. I think for me, honestly, in like my legacy, and I talked about this with Steven before, my legacy is how good of young men we consistently put out here of Catholic Central, seeing the kids that I've been able to affect come back as young employees, young husbands, young fathers, and things like that. And I know that's kind of a cliche answer. To make it more personal, what kind of young men are my 10-year-old and 7-year-old going to become? Who are they becoming daily? Are they kind? So in terms of my legacy, like, that's a big part of it. But in terms of what people think, I think the older you get and the quicker that some of the younger people out here can learn this, I don't care what people think about me. I know if I'm living my life the right way, faith forward, family forward, leading with love, then I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll sleep like a baby every night. Do I do everything right? No. Do I make a lot of mistakes? But we talk about it on here. We fail forward. Can't change anything that happened yesterday. If I wake up this morning, plant both feet, and attack the day, things are going to get better. You do a really good job because you have to play both parts. You build your own personal brand. Now you have your full-time job here, but you build your own personal brand. A lot of what you do is to make sure that you get attention and monetize on social media, but then in the rest of the stuff that you do a good job in showing how you're adding value while also incorporating that into your brand. Some of your speaking engagements, when you do Thanksgiving giveaway, turkey giveaways. So you do a good job of incorporating both of them together. I think some people that want that attention, their identity is what they present on social media, and then they're train wrecks behind the scenes.
One thing that my mentor taught me, I would say about 5 years ago, that really because I was a CC. I went to all boys school, so I was up until I was about probably up until like 23. I thought had the all boys school conservative view. I thought social media was weird. You know what I'm saying? But then
you definitely flipped that.
Yeah,
that changed quickly.
Yeah, but then once I saw how lucrative, it was in maximizing some of the gifts that God had gave me. But I started to say, Gary Vee gave me this framework at 25 years old when I went to one of his NFT conferences, and he was like, the goal should never be to create content. The goal should be to document your life. And so that is when the trajectory and when my followers took off, because it's like, yeah, like I hang out at my high school and do my off-season workouts here.
Yeah, it's not fake.
Then I'll go and speak. Then I'll go to a study group. Then I'll go and help out with our group homes. Then I'll come and hang out and eat mango with you. And I think people need to get into that. I think overly curated content is really hurting society because it's false, And so I think the reason why Gary Vee, who's a person that's like not overly polished and he swears and he comes from like a Jewish background and he has an amazing mother, and it's because he just documents what he does. And I think if people could get out of content creation again to just like documenting what they actually do, I think it takes the mental toll off of them, because there's no need to really like fake the funk,
It's got to be exhausting though. Like if you're presenting a false persona on social media and live in a different way, it's got to be exhausting, because you got to keep that gimmick up. And you got to find different ways to put your social media face forward. It's just like the Kairos talk on wearing masks. It's like you could put on masks all day long, but at some point that's got to come off and you got to deal with who you really are.
And I think, why I'm so extremely blessed and from an amazing family, my CC family and my actual family, is that at an early age, man, I learned that it's only the people that you actually see in real life that matter. I think that's one of the things that I learned very early in life that helped with my mental health, is that I only value people that I actually like know, and I think one of the issues people face nowadays is they're valuing the opinions of people that know nothing about them, don't care about them, aren't bringing value to them, aren't lifting them up, aren't praying for them, aren't with them during times of adversity. And so who does your high school athletic director, what type of man do you think you are? Your wife, your kids, like the people that really know you. I think if anything, I value the opinions of people that actually know me and can make a legitimate critique of how I'm behaving, how I'm living my life versus a stranger online. And I think if a lot of our young men, but young men around the globe could hear that message and understand it, like focus on the people that actually bring value to your life and that actually know you, because their critique actually comes from a certain level of genuine exposure to you.
Yeah, love and respect.
Yeah.
I think too, if I'm talking to the kids walking out here, I'm going to say, for all of us, somewhere not that long ago in the history of the world, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they were working in mines, they were working in factories with the hope and the dream that someday a generation might be able to live the American dream. They put us on their back. I would remind each and every young person that I talk to, go home tonight and look your mom and dad in the eye in an imperfect world and let them know that you love them and let them know that you're trying to be the absolute best version of yourself you can be, and you're not going to let them down. Because one thing I have learned, when you're focused on trying to do the right things for your family, that's a lot stronger than your own personal motivation. So you can have millions of dollars in the bank and you can be a social media star. If you don't have a good relationship with your spouse, if you don't have a good relationship with your parents or your kids, or you don't have friends that you can sit there and reminisce with, there's a huge void. That's very difficult. So
Sounds lonely.
Yeah. I mean, I heard it once said that as you get older, you want the definition of success. What kind of relationship do you have with your adult children?
Yeah.
And if you have everything else, but you have one of your kids that won't talk to you, you'll, on your deathbed, die miserable. And if you have a great relationship with your adult children and your family members, no matter if you have $20 in the bank, you'll rest in peace, very fulfilled.
The reason I'm grinning ear to ear is because you talk about your relationship with your grown children. Now you're a grandfather, right?
Yeah.
Kelsey's got kids.
Yeah.
Ryan's got kids.
Yeah, 5.
Garrett, we're still working on.
Yeah,
we're still working on Big G.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have any for a while. But
Garrett still sends, he'll post the picture from the track and say like ran this, and I always wonder if he really ran during that time, which I love to call
lumbered, maybe better adjective.
Power walked.
Yeah.
But you talk about your relationship with your kids. I recently saw a picture of you when you guys went to Disney.
Yeah.
Where everybody had the matching T-shirt on. I think yours said
that's Kim.
Grandpa. Kim had Grandma. Everybody else had their T-shirts on.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That to me speaks volumes. Not only because it was the whole family that went together, and like you're like me, you like to wear stuff that shows your arms off a little bit when you're in good shape and stuff.
Used to. Yeah.
And and seeing you in that picture, I'm like, it was just so typical to see you in something like that because of the relationship you've had with your kids. And I mean, it's just, and I know you want that same relationship with your grandkids too.
While we're out there, I mean, achievers are not going to be liked by underachievers. Underachievers aren't going to be.
Preach.
So right off the bat, everybody's not going to love you. But this life has taught me, and my wife has done a great job hitting me over the head and reinforcing it. It's one thing to sit there and look at your portfolio and look at your accomplishments and knowing that you're mentoring other people, but also have a photo album that every month you're creating life's memories for your friends and your families, because so many people miss that, and they amass great wealth and they're very successful business-wise, but they're not creating life's memories. And Kim and I, at this point, our job is to create life's memories for our children and our grandchildren for however long we have left on this earth. That's our primary purpose.
Do you feel like even more now every day is Saturday since you're technically retired? And
Every day has always been Saturday, but every day now is engaging with my grandchildren and watching them and loving my family is my priority. That's why when I got to be 62, that's when I started winding down other things because I started having grandchildren. It's like you can't serve two masters. I can't be at Boise Cascade. I can't be on a committee meeting and with my grandchildren
one of
on
the grandkids,
Tuesday, the
yeah.
Tuesday kids concerts on Tuesday morning in downtown Northville from 10 to, you can't be at two places. I can't be watching my grandkids on a Thursday afternoon and be in a meeting someplace. So
even though Chris is single, I don't want to step on any toes in here. You're actively dating, or
I mean, the Bible only acknowledges husbands and wives. So
I'm going to use one of your terms
the
here,
Bible speaks
allegedly. I can't even, the fact that you said that with a straight face, really, I was impressed for about 2 seconds. I'm surprised Sean isn't crying, laughing over there.
The Bible speaks of husbands.
But the
and
one thing I will
wives.
give you credit on, and I know I say it a lot, but you know, when you talk about the priority being your family and you know what kind of man you want your grandkids to see and your own kids. I'm the same way with Brooks and Bo. Even though you're not married with kids, Chris, you do a great job of going to youth events. You'll come to Brooks's games or Bobo's games. You went to watch Teague Hancock play and other family members. Anthony told me you went to support his flag football team, I think it was. I can't wait to see how much more you level up when you finally have kids of your own. Because I know I always say that to you all the time, like, oh, just wait till you find out. People used to say it to me too, like, it changes you. I'm like, you have them as a baby, it changes you a little bit, but then they start to grow and you're like, whew.
kids like dogs know he's a gentle giant. You can just tell that kids are going to be attracted
There's
to
no
him.
listen. Every kid I've ever seen around
Exactly.
him,
Yeah.
he's like
yeah.
kindergarten cop.
Yeah.
Like climbing all over him.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. He can be a tough guy, but he's got a soft side.
I have
and
a picture
compassionate
of
side.
Chris holding Brooks in the weight room as a baby when
Yeah.
Chris had a man bun. Sean, you ever
see?
see that? Chris had the man bun on top of his fade. One episode we're gonna do the hairstyles of Chris Okoye.
At the camo shirt, right? I don't like camo compression shirts.
You had a sleeveless sweatshirt,
like a vest, like a vest. Like
I don't know what it was.
Dude, what's up? I've had some interesting. I've had a lot of fashion diversity over the.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You're a free spirit when it comes to fashion. Wisk, with you, you know, like I said, I know you weren't born with some of this stuff. Some of it I think you were, though, with just your spirit and your positivity and things like that. Who were some of the mentors that you had outside of your coaches that really helped you sharpen that iron? I know, like Dale Carnegie, I know you've studied that quite a bit. And when I read up on that stuff still to this day, it makes me think of you immediately because we had great conversations.
My hero, obviously, is my father. Tragically, he died when he was 62 years old of heart disease. So he will always be my hero. In terms of non-family, Coach Mack had a bigger influence. Coach Mack, Coach Karate. And then I was fortunate in the business world because I had all those different personalities as I navigated through corporate America. I had John Wooden type bosses, but I also had Woody Hayes and Bobby Knight type bosses as well. And it was fine because the Bobby Knight and the Woody, they let me have it. You know, keep your mouth shut, sit in the back of the room, you know, surround yourself with smart, sharp people and do what they tell you to. You'll be fine. I mean, they would mentor me and they would hit me over the head, not Dale Carnegie, because they knew I could handle it. And so I was very, very blessed. So there were gentlemen at Boise Cascade, Stan Bell, Nick Stokes, Mike Scalavino, my mentors that would close the door, tell me what's right, tell me what's wrong, anything I can help you with, anything that's affecting the people that in Detroit that I can help with. That's all I needed. I will die before I let these people down. That was my mentality. You know, that's all I needed. Getting back to, you know, I think that's missed in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to know is that 2 minutes. How can I help? Anything right? Anything you're having problems? If there is a problem, come see me. We'll navigate through it, go through the proper channels. And if that's not working, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. I'm not going to be sloppy, but we'll figure out how to get the problem done.
No complaints without
Life's pretty
solutions.
simple,
Yeah, it's not
really,
that. Just
but
communicate. Just be a good human being. Like,
correct.
I was listening to, we talked about this before, Chris, Mel Robbins, who I love. She wrote a book, and it's about let them. And it's just having that let them mentality, to where it says, like, hey, if so-and-so was like this on a daily basis, that's them. I know that. Just let them be like that, and don't let it affect you. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge part of it. You know, you've taken a lot of leadership chances, but I think it comes from your heart. Do you feel like that's ever gotten in you in a bit of a pickle in the professional sense, that you lead so much with your heart? Did it ever mucky the waters at all, or did it make things easier for you?
No, don't mistake kindness and compassion for weakness. And if we have talented people whose hearts are in the right spot, we'll figure it out. We'll navigate through it. And if we have cancers, or we have people that are becoming a drag on the team, my team will let me know, and they would come to me and say, we're done, you got to do something. Okay. Yeah, I've got a backbone. I have compassion, but when you start hurting the team because you're becoming a distraction and you're going to take us backwards, you got to go.
Yep.
So, okay, so brings me to this point. I want both of you guys to answer this. I one of my favorite thought leaders, her name is Layla. She speaks of this like thing called be kind, not nice. And so it seems like that's kind of what you were referring to a little bit. Like, you know, being the right type of person, but not being a pushover. What does that look like for you guys? How are you able to balance like being the right type of guy, being the man that you seek to become, being
I found it easy because we were football players and we're big in stature.
Yes.
I was mentored, never get mad, but every now and then we need you to act like you're mad to get the point across. And nobody's going to mess with you.
Yeah.
And
flip the switch mentality.
If God forbid, if anybody does, then you don't unload on them. But
yeah.
like I say, don't mistake kindness for weakness. And as long as you're doing the right things and you're trying, I'll do anything to protect you, anything to help you. If you start undermining, or you start being excessively negative, or you're not giving the effort and it starts to affect other people, and our achievers are looking at you as the leader and saying, hey, wait a minute, you're asking us to go the extra mile and you're looking the other way on this person, you need to do something here. Every now and then the lion has to roar, and every now and then you need to sit down with somebody and just say, I always found you sit down with them, you let them know exactly 1, 2, 3, you've left early on Fridays at 2:00 and everybody notices it. You aren't making outbound going phone calls. You made 3 yesterday, for example. You're smoking cigarettes for 15 minutes on every hour, 5 times I mean, boom, boom. And there's nothing here that isn't correctable. But if you don't correct these things, one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to be miserable and you're going to have to go. You're going to resign and go find someplace else because obviously you're not having fun and you're not fulfilled here, or you're going to be terminated. One of the three. And usually what happens is within a month they check every box again and you bring them in and say, okay, this, and you document, and boom, you're gone. And it's never fun. You never want to feel good about it, but every now and then, just like if you're a football coach at the NFL, you have to cut people every now and then. It's part of it. I mean, you see good kids
every few days, just now.
Yeah, well, you and I, we know about that. But
okay,
but
right. I've been cut from teams before too, guys. Sorry to get cut from the league.
Those cuts
Freshman
hurt.
basketball was the last time, so I finally got over that.
Blacks team cut, man, changed my life.
I know, for the better. You finally got the focus. You didn't have to get skinny. It's funny though, because in talking about Gary Vee, he had one yesterday, and it was really similar about being kind, being nice, and he, you know how big he is on giving grace and empathy and listening and things like that. And he's like, listen, I'll even let you mess me over one time, And I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna keep my spidey senses up. He's like, second time, he's like, I'll still give grace. And he's like, but the third time, he's like, that's when I got to cut you off because you're just not part of the circle and moving the way that I move. I can be kind to everybody. And I really saw that. I read a book called The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. And he says, even if you're in an elevator with somebody and it's the only time you see them in your lifetime and you're in there for 3 seconds, make that the most positive 3 seconds they might have that day. So if I'm alone in an elevator with somebody, hey, how you doing? You having a good day? Like blah, blah, blah. Just little touches like that. But there's no way in HE double hockey sticks I'm going to let somebody take advantage of me. I'm not going to let someone disrespect me because, like you said, Wisk, a lion doesn't have to tell other people or other animals he's a lion. They know.
Yeah.
They know right away. So every once in a while, you do have to let that out. I try not to let it happen out of anger. But I will get my point across and make sure that at the end of that, if it's a tough conversation, we circle back around and make sure we came up with some type of agreement. Now, if it keeps happening and you constantly disagree or we constantly disagree, we just don't
mesh.
We just don't vibe because we're not moving the same way.
You've gotten actually. I mean, I think I learned it early because, like I said, I'm like a very much if I see a hot stove, like I don't gotta touch it. I don't know why I'm like that, but I've been a very big learn from others' mistakes and just be coachable. One thing that you've gotten tremendously better at that I learned from you early was that you have to have like duality of relationships. And before, when I was growing up, it was like you were just kicking it with everybody, pouring into everybody. People were just trying to like use you, leverage the relationship while not pouring back into you, not checking on you. And I think I noticed you going through that a lot when I was younger. And I think it made me a little more hyper vigilant to people that aren't bringing value, aren't checking on me. They're just coming around and get their cup filled. Where nowadays, I think you do a phenomenal job of like being present with certain people, but then like your actual inner circle and friend and family are the people that more so kind of like weigh on your like emotions. And you're going to take that extra step, and it's made you, a lot happier.
100%.
Yeah, like
there's IQ, intellectual quotient, which is your GPA, and then there's life smarts, and there's emotional quotient. And I always tried to mentor my people, give your heart and soul to those worthy of receiving your heart and soul. And when we were with our customer base, there are customers that are loyal customers that we will stand in our head and do anything we can to help them. And then there are transactional. And don't make the mistake of emotionally putting your heart and soul into people that are going to use you when it works for them, and understand from an intellectual standpoint and from an emotional standpoint, there are transactional. When it works for both sides, it's fine, but don't put those people in the bucket that you're giving them your heart and soul and doing everything you can to save that for the people that would do the same for you.
I feel like nowadays it's getting easier to see through those people.
Oh, because they don't care anymore.
No. It's amazing how quickly it happens.
Demonic now. I think before there was like a certain level of like, hey man, you got to bring value. Don't be using people. I think when I was growing up, it kind of started to trail off a little bit. But now it's like, no, go get what you can, eat what you kill. Like
exactly.
It's like it's just like go and use them up.
You gotta be a savage and run right over people. Which
like
in certain instances, like, okay, if I have a goal and I have competition for that goal, I'm gonna run right over you. But I'm not looking to step on other people's backs to get myself to the top. I want to bring a real leader brings people with him. Like I want to know that when I retire as the athletic director at Catholic Central, I maybe have trained somebody underneath me that can come right in and take over like Bob Santello did. Never thought I would do that, but when I sat down with him, he's like, listen, you need to think about this, blah, blah, blah. And that's something that I said, like, I've learned that from Jeff when I heard him talk about like national business meetings he would go to and the things he would say to people, or just telling somebody, hey, I saw what you did the other day when you picked this up off the floor. I really appreciate that. But it does go back to just being a good human being. And the Dale, I hate to bring it up again, but it is really like the Dale Carnegie stuff and a lot of the other stuff I listen to.
Correct.
See your people. Love your people up. Get to know them. Let them know you care. Figure out who pours back into you. And I'm perfectly fine with keeping a small circle. But I know everybody in my circle, if I needed them to pour back into me or they needed me to pour into them, all they got to do is call or shoot me a text. And it might just be somebody saying, hey, I hope you're having a good day. Or like, we'll send little things back and forth and I'll get a text from him out of nowhere. And it's like, man, and that's life. Like, I don't need a million friends when only 4 of them are pouring back into me and really caring about who I am. So
No. I learned that, again, just taking 3 minutes and writing somebody a sincere note. What a lost art. I mean, everybody's emailing, everybody's texting.
handwritten,
Oh, I every month going out and buying a birthday cake and saying, we've got 3 birthdays this month, we've got 4 birthdays this month. Take you 20 minutes. You don't think that affects the psyche of people and they feel appreciated, and on their birthday, everybody in the place is saying, hey, happy birthday. When you're doing gifts for people, not just a generic gift, something that is customized. There's all kinds of blankets and things that you can do, woodcraft things. It's taking a couple minutes to customize to let a human being sincerely know that they're appreciated. You bring tears to their eyes with a couple minutes of thought and kindness and sincere gratitude.
I think that the 3 of us, and Sean included too, because when he says certain things like, we'll thank Sean for stuff, and he's like, oh, I love this and this, but then I'll see him post little things about his band, which I got to mention every single time we're on here. Sean's band has a new record out. Make sure you go pick that up. Support the cause. But I see him
got the record. You feel me?
You got it?
Already got the record.
You don't have a record player at home, I guarantee it, do you?
Why does that matter? You always try.
You haven't heard it, but you have a physical copy.
I've been to actual concerts. So.
I haven't gotten invited. She hasn't posted tour dates. So. But I think when you get to that point too, to where it's not easy to orchestra overdrive concerts. I can see that. So, when you give gifts to people, I can't say that that's easy, but when you have that gift you can give and it's something you say to them and you see that same reaction to where it brings tears to their eyes, because we constantly tell the boys here, guys, you don't know what's going on in someone's life outside of CC.
Correct.
Like even in the adults, like we come here and we put on a good face for the kids, but I could be going through it at home. So I'm even careful with some of the jokes I throw out. Like we've apologized to each other in the past about certain things just because we can be that honest with each other. But I said something to an IT guy one day, like just jokingly, and I knew they were in the thick of it, and he knows my sense of humor, but I saw him kind of put his head down for a second, and he walked away, and I was like, oh man, I go back to him, I apologize to him 20 minutes later. It's like, no, I didn't even care about what you said. I was kind of laughing. I put my head down smiling, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, but I thought I affected him in a different way. And I think we've sharpened that iron over time to where we can feel when someone's struggling.
Empathy.
It's the same thing in an interview. Like I can literally feel it in my soul if somebody's going to be a good fit to be a coach here at Catholic Central.
Correct.
You can have the greatest resume, but if I can feel that you're not going to love our kids up, you can't coach here.
Correct.
It's got to be the number one. If I feel like you don't love yourself, you can't coach here because I know you can't pour love into other people.
What if they love themselves too much?
Is that possible? I'm my own biggest fan.
Not in that way.
No, behavior is very predictable.
Yep.
Very predictable.
Yeah.
One thing that we talk about here a lot is servant leadership and truly living that. When you were at Boise Cascade, I heard about some of the things you were able to do philanthropically. Is that something that you got from your mom and your dad, your faith through Coach Mack, always talking about the magic being in believing?
I think it was more being a football player and being good enough to get to the NFL and to hang around long enough to, be vested and have the retirement, but also always being the 45th guy. I was very sensitive to, I want to coach people up. I don't like coaches that just sit there and rip on me. I like coaches that look me in the eye and believe that I can be better and give me a little pep talk. And when I got out into the business world, it's like that's what I want to do. I want to spot talent. I want to surround myself with people who are strong where I'm not strong, and I want to throw gasoline on their talent and support them and love them and give them a fun place to come to work every day, and we'll let the results speak for themselves. And it worked. It was delightful.
I have 2 final questions for you. One's a question, and one I want you to motivate the people up there. The first one: successful man, husband, father, grandfather, NFL, USFL, the Arena League, widely successful at Boise Cascade and other. So what's left for Jeff Wiska?
The most important chapters in the book of my life, whether it be 2 years or whether it be 30 years, are the chapters that I've yet to write. And that's what I appreciate being around guys like you, because as you get older, you need youth and you need energy, and the world is growing technologically and marketing-wise and branding-wise, and guys like me need guys like you. It's my turn to learn from you guys and to get energized from you.
It's a lot of pressure.
No, but the reality is what's written is written.
Yep.
You know, nothing older than yesterday's news. If I walk around and go to Target next door and raise my hands in the air and say, "Hey man, I played 3 years in the NFL," I look like Al Bundy. I look like a doofus. You can't do that. So, but what I do have control over is going home, being a good husband, being a good parent, being a good grandparent, and being a good friend. And that is what is most important to me. And that's why again, Catholic Central has been an annuity to me, because it wasn't just the 4-year experience. Then it was I was here coaching when I was in the USFL, and then at Dad's Club, and now with you guys doing stuff. Life is, you know, you are who you hang out with. And if I go to the pearly gates and God looks me in the eye and says, "Who did you hang out with?" I was with the CC guy. Okay, I'm good with that. That's a win. I might spend some time in purgatory, but yeah,
probably with another CC guy. But
I've never, and Coach Max said the same thing. Just got together with him and a bunch of our 77 guys a couple months ago at Sandy's on the beach. We've never met the quality and the character and the big-heartedness and the intelligence of the people that you meet through Catholic Central in any other entity any other business, any other entity.
it's true. I mean, it's a special
It is
place.
for me. I'm a testimonial. I'm not marketing. I'm just speaking from my heart.
I fell in love with this place more after I left it and was able to come back, which I know when you were able to come back and coach as well at CC. I fell in love with it more because I loved my experience, but I fell in love with it because I saw what it meant to so many different kids and what it could mean to somebody just on a daily basis.
I was married by a Catholic Central priest, Father Clemens. Ryan was married by Father Wheeler. Our grandson was baptized by Father Wheeler. I've been intricately involved in the Dad's Club, chairing the corn roast, been on the finance committee, been on the board of directors. I mean, you name it, I've done it in my...
You won the drive drawing?
Won the drive drawing. I've lived. And I... Again, it's the best thing that ever happened to me was Catholic Central, because it allowed me to live the American dream, and I will forever be grateful for that.
Part B of that one,
Yeah.
the way that we usually end the House of Podcast or House of Hammers podcast on a weekly basis whenever we do one is we always want us three or whoever guests we have on just to give the listeners, whoever it might be. I don't care if 5 people watch it, 3 people watch it, as long as somebody gets something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things that we do here because you just get to sit down and really talk about a lot of positivity. But what positivity can you give the listeners and the viewers out there to get them through the rest of this day, the next day, and whatever else it might be, something that they can carry with them on a daily basis?
I would say look your spouse in the eye, look your kids in the eye. If you're younger, look your parents in the eye, get on the phone and call your grandparents and tell them that you understand the responsibility that you have being the best version of yourself. And even though you're imperfect and we stumble, you love them, you're grateful, you're blessed, and you're going to continue to try to improve on yourself and be the best version of yourself that you can be, because you don't want to let those that you love down.
Chris, good luck. I'll let you go second.
No, you go.
Nope.
Oh, he's going second. if it doesn't go against God, your family, and it doesn't hurt people, chase it. Chase that goal, chase that dream. One of the things I've been sharing with our people is that the less validation you need in order to make your dream comes true, the less likely it's going to happen. Like if you're constantly needing validation to make your dreams come true, it's not going to happen. You know why? Because it takes a lot of time to go around asking the wrong type of people for permission. So if it doesn't go against God, it doesn't go against your family, it doesn't go against your belief, it doesn't hurt people, chase it. And if it doesn't negatively impact like that criteria, keep chasing it, man, and pursue it. Because people are going to hate either way. I think that's one thing that we've all learned. If you're doing the right thing, people are going to hate. If you're doing the wrong thing, people are going to hate. So just focus on controlling the controllables and and minimizing validation from the wrong type of people and just get after it.
There's one I heard the other day that's just been on my heart. It's part of it is because the guy who said it sounded like Charlie Siracusa, God rest his soul. But he said, I looked in your cup to see if you had enough. You looked in my cup to see if I had more than you. We're not the same. Be very careful of what people value, what they value you for, what they see in you. I love that because I think sometimes we don't understand why people want a relationship built with us, what value they place on us, or what we even value in other people. For me, it hit close to home because I surround myself with those people that are constantly looking at my cup to see if I have enough. And in turn, they know I'm looking in theirs to see if they have enough. We don't care if we have more than each other. We just want to let each other know that, hey, I got you if you need a little bit more. And in turn, I know you got me. That's what I think is special about what we do as men on a daily basis. When we look in that mirror, we're able to look at that guy and say, listen, we're going to get after it today. I love who's looking back at me. We're going to go attack and do everything we can to love people up and to motivate. So I'm a better man, a better husband, a better father because of you, Wisk. And you were a mentor to me when I really didn't know what direction I was going in. When I first got home from college and started coaching, I had to get some other stuff together in my life. But every time I came back here and got to spend time with people like you and the kids, I don't know if those kids in those first few years I was coaching, I don't know if they understand how much they helped me keep it together because I wasn't on the greatest path. But when I came back here, I knew this is where I was supposed to be and would help make me whole, and I could figure everything else out. So I can't thank you enough for just being the human being that you are. You know how much I love you. I love your family. Kim is a saint, obviously, which people have said for years.
Yeah,
so make sure you tell her I said that.
We don't walk into a room and people, look at her and say, boy, you got the better end of the deal. That doesn't happen.
Take it from somebody who also outkicked their coverage. We did pretty good for a couple CC guys.
CC.
Yeah, exactly.
CC. If I didn't have CC background, I doubt I would have been the man that I am that she would have wanted to be with me. So.
Well, I know you look for ways to continuously improve yourself, even though we're getting a little older. But
trying. I mean, hair dye only takes you so far. I'm trying to 200, down to 200 pounds, staying in shape. Trying to. You get one body, take care of it. Most important thing. I mean.
That's Chris. We talk about that. That's
all the time, every day. Sheesh.
I always got to give you your flowers when you're on here too. I love to see the continued growth. I love the brotherhood. Like I feel like even though you're a little bit larger than me, I love that little brother role that you fulfill for me being an only child. And I know that as much stuff as I give you, it comes from my heart. And to watch you continue to take chances, fail forward and fail big, that's everything that I know that I had hoped for you when Wisk met you at a young age, and even Sean too.
I looked up to his sons. I remember thinking
it's crazy, man.
Like,
coaching those
guys.
guys.
It's been a joy to watch both of you guys.
Being a freshman, I thought like when I was a little freshman in my head, like I thought Ryan Wiska.
Yeah, I don't know that you were a little freshman.
No, mentally he was a quarterback, so he thought he was small.
Yeah, I thought Ryan was the one of the coolest because he was, he was like the strong senior. He would like wear super tight clothes. Yeah. Like he was like a superhero.
A little history though, going back when Mr. Santello was retiring, Father Ranaletti asked me to be on the selection committee for his, and I just knew. I knew your passion. I knew your background. I know you're saying thank you. I say thank you to you because you validated. I believed in you, and I saw a lot of times people look at a resume and they hire a resume, and really what you want to do is you want to find the future superstar. And I knew you were a superstar human being, and you've been a superstar dad, a superstar husband, and you've been a superstar athletic director, and you still got some runway in front of you, so you'll be doing it for a while. Keep up, you guys both keep up. You light up the room, and people smile when you guys are coming in, and you're making a difference and an impact in a positive way on so many young men. That's as honorable a life as you can live. So
it's the best.
You guys keep it up.
It's the best. And I love having you around. I love having you at the games and just seeing you guys at places and your family and the grandkids. It's just.
I never left. I've never left.
It's the best. You don't have to at a place like this. And Chris,
Correct.
I know you want to give one more plug out when all else fails.
Honestly, if you guys just want to keep creating more superstar men, superstar husbands, superstar fathers, one way that you can continue to contribute to Catholic Central being able to build and cultivate such amazing young men is by donating to the 1928 Club. If you want to keep the cultivation and growth, and more importantly, help inspire, help us roll out some more Brazilians, continue to help our school, man. That's how we're able to do the great things that we do. You can go to CatholicCentral.net, head over to the alumni page, man. There's a plethora of different information there. Get involved, get engaged, man. We'd love to have you on campus.
Sean, if I'm not mistaken, Mike Liddell's name is outside of this podcast room, yes?
Yes.
I will be spending time with Mike Liddell on our spring break trip to South Carolina, so I'll make sure that I'll let him know we've been taking full advantage of this. And
maybe
if he
needs
wants to
a little,
donate anything else, of course, we'd be more than happy to.
Hey,
maybe
Chris,
he needs a little invite on the show.
Oh, trust me, I can bring him on here. I'm going to have to give him some serious guidelines, but we will get him on. But another phenomenal episode. Like I said, 14 episodes of positivity, love, faith, and everything you could think of. And having Jeff Wiska on here from the class of 1977, just an absolute legend of a human being. Our co-host, Chris Okoye, myself, and on behalf of the man behind the boards, Sean Silva, we love you guys. We wish you nothing but the best.
Chris, Aaron, Sean, I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to be your brother. Older brother, much older brother, but it's an honor.
Wiska's getting me
Thank you.
emotional on here. I don't want to cry on
Yeah,
a
you guys got
podcast,
me all
but
pumped up. I'm not going to drive home. I'm probably going to run home at this point.
He'll be in the
I-
weight room throwing up 225.
Yeah, I'm going to go throw
50-something
225 on
times.
the bench and see how many reps I can do before I rip my rotator cuff again.
But our challenge to everybody out there, just go out there and do something positive. See somebody, say something nice to somebody, smile at someone, do something that's going to make somebody else feel special, because in turn, that's going to make you feel special. And that's what being a Hammer is all about. So we love you guys. Tap in, check one of the many other past episodes out, some of the other CC podcasts, slightly less scripted. We've got a couple other ones that the kids do. It's just a lot of great things going on here, but this is for everybody out there. So hopefully you got a good takeaway, some positivity, and found out a little bit more about one of our heroes, Jeff Wiska, and the usual madness between Chris and myself. So we love you guys, and when all else fails, keep hammering.